Hello friends, this is Yogesh MURUMKAR, and today we are going to see how to make your system dual boot. So I have already installed Windows 10 on my system. So these are the drives I am having. This is my USB or pen drive which I am going to use for making my system as dual boot. And let us see which are the drives available or how the partition is done on my system. So go to the disk management by right clicking to my computer icon on desktop and going to the manage. So in disk management we can see the actual disk partition. So this is the disk partition. I have these drives and I have this 228.39 GB as free space. I have not installed any operating system on that particular drive. Now to make your system as dual boot, first of all what you should have is the software to make the pen drive bootable. So we are going to use USB drive or pen drive for booting the system and making the system as dual boot ultimately. So Rufus is the software I am going to use, and this is the setup of Ubuntu 16.04 operating system. So along with Windows 10 we are going to install Ubuntu 16.04. So double click on Rufus and this is what you will see. So just click on this particular button and you can select the Ubuntu 16.04 setup. That is ISO file which I have already downloaded. So this is the Rufus software. You can use any other open source software. I am using Rufus. So there are a number of open source softwares available for making the pen drive as bootable, like USB installer also. So just say okay, it is going to format your USB drive or pen drive. So this is the first step for making the system dual boot. Make your pen drive or USB drive as bootable by using any open source software. So it is not going to take that much of time, and this is how you can make your pen drive or USB drive as bootable. So ultimately we are going to use USB drive or pen drive, and we are going to ask our system to boot through that particular USB drive or pen drive. So let it get finished. So the point is you are going to require the ISO file of the operating system which you are going to install and the software to make your pen drive or USB drive as bootable. So I am using Rufus 2.18 and I am using Ubuntu 16.04 ISO file. Both these I have already downloaded on my system. You can get it freely. And it is not necessary that you should use the same software. You can use USB installer or other open source softwares to make the pen drive bootable. So it will take some time. Yes, it is copying ISO files. Yes, it is ready, and that particular pen drive is formatted and now it is bootable. So it is ready. Now just close it, and now I will boot my system through pen drive. So let us restart the system, and I'm using Asus laptop. So to go to the BIOS setting I am pressing escape button. So it is dependent on which company you are using. I'm using Asus machine. So if you are using Lenovo or some Dell or HP or Sony, so it depends on that particular company how to go to BIOS. I'm pressing escape button to go to the BIOS setting. So it is restarting. I want to go to BIOS setting and I want to boot through the USB drive or pen drive. That's why I'm doing it like this, because my pen drive is bootable. So it will show me different options to boot. So by pressing escape I am here and it is showing different options like to boot through Windows Boot Manager or SanDisk. SanDisk is the pen drive which I have made it as bootable. So I have clicked on that and I am booting through that particular pen drive. So it will take time to boot the pen drive. So let us see what happens. Yeah, it has booted through that particular pen drive or USB drive. Now we will use that free partition which I have already shown you in Windows 10 operating system. So we are going to install our Ubuntu 16.04 on that particular partition. So just okay, select it, just select on install Ubuntu, click on install Ubuntu. Then I don't want to connect to internet, just say continue. You can connect to internet also, no problem, but other if you connect it, it is going to take much time. You can install the packages later on also, so just say continue. You need to install third-party softwares. If you require, you can do that. So it is dependent on the user. So just say continue. So it is preparing to install Ubuntu 16.04. So ultimately what we are going to get is the dual boot system by using Windows 10 and Ubuntu 16.04. So there are different options. I'm going to use this something else option because I want to dual boot it. I want to install two operating systems. First one we already installed, that is Windows 10. So this is the installation or partitions it is showing us. So out of these you can see NTFS partitions. The type of file system is NTFS. Those are the Windows drives, NTFS and FAT32. These are the Windows drives, and this is the free space. It is near about 245 GB. So I am going to use that particular free space to install Ubuntu 16.04 on my system. If I say install, so it is saying no root file system is defined, so I will have to define root file system first, that is slash. So let us add it. Just click on plus button and it will show the whole free space of 245 GB. So out of these I will use 50 GB for root, so I will mention it, and just I will have to enter that particular number here, that is 50 GB. So mount point will be root, so I am going to select the mount point as root first of all. So this is the necessary one to install Ubuntu operating system, so I am going to select mount point as root. Now out of these 245 GB, I will devote 50 GB of space to this root partition, so I will have to enter that number here. And it is using ext4 file system. So there are different file systems available like ext3, ext2 also. I am using ext4 file system here. So just enter the required size for root. I am entering 50 GB, that is 50,000 MB. So let's say okay. So see, it is showing ext4 partition and it is mount point is the root. Now the remaining is near about 195 GB. So out of that I'm going to use the space for other partitions. So I will make a partition for home directory. So this one also I'm going to keep it as 50 GB. So let us enter that particular number here. So it is also 50,000 MB, that is 50 GB. So let's say okay. So it will create the mount point for home also. Yeah, ext4 file system, type of file system is ext4, and the mount point is home. So now the remaining one is 145 GB. So these three we have created till now. So out of remaining 145 GB, I am going to make another partition or a mount point. So I will devote the space for user. So let us say I will enter it as 20 GB. Yeah, so 20,000 MB, that is nothing but 20 GB. So let's say okay. So that one is also created, you can see it here for /usr. Then the next free space is 125 GB. Out of that I am going to use the space for swap area. So it is also necessary to give the space or to make the mount point for swap area also. So it is 20 GB I will devote. So swap area is also created. So we have used 20 GB of space for swap area. So if you uh, create the mount point for root and swap area, that is sufficient, but as I'm having enough space, I'm going to give the space for other mount points also. So I was having here about 255 GB, so let us give to TMP mount point also. So let's say it is 20 GB, so let's say okay. So you can see that particular slash TMP is also created here. Now the remaining free space is 85 GB near about. Yeah, it is 85230 MB. That means 85 GB. Yeah. The next mount point I'm going to select. So which one is remaining? Slash var. Okay. So slash var is done. So we will give 20 GB of space to slash var also variable. So that also you can see it here. So it is, yeah, it is 20 GBs. So the remaining free space 65 GB near about. So the remaining is okay, we will give to local. So out of the remaining 65 GB, we will again devote 20 GB to slash usr slash local. Okay, we will make it as 30, no problem. We have already have enough space, so let's say 30 GB for slash the usr slash local. So you can see it here, 29999 MB, that is near about 30 GB. So remaining space is 35 GB. So which one is remaining? Slash var. So let's say out of these 35, let's say 10 GB is for slash var. So let's say okay. So it is going to show you slash var also. Yeah, the remaining is 25 GB. It's in about 25 GBs. So slash opt is not done, so let's give the space to slash opt. So these are all the mount points. So let's say 20 GB again, so let's say okay. So that slash opt mount point also you can see it here. So yeah, it is done. The remaining is 5 GB. So let's utilize that 5 GB also. So let's say 5 GB, which one is remaining? Okay, slash srv, I think it is remaining, yes. So let's say 5 GB for slash srv mount point, and you can see it here, 5231 MB, that is near about 5 GB. So all the partitions we have created. Again, I'm saying it is not necessary to create all these mount points. Let's root is important and swap area. Okay, which one is remaining? Okay, boot is remaining. I have not given any partition for boot, and I have given the created the mount point for var 2 times. Okay, so let's change it. I forgot to give the partition for boot, and I have created 2 mount points for slash variable. So let's just revert it or change it. So let's say we will make it for boot. I have not created any mount point for boot, so let's devote it to boot only, ext4 only, and devote it to boot. It's 10 GB. Next file is where? Okay, it's 20 GB. So use this 10 GB partition and use it for slash boot, as we did not create any mount point for slash boot. So what is remaining? 199A, am I right? Okay, yeah, it's right. So let's go for slash boot, and let's see whether it is going to create the mount point for slash boot or not. So let say ext4 journaling file system, keep it as it is only. What I will do is slash variable is already done, no problem. ext4 swap area is also done. Okay, do not use this partition. No, I want to use that particular partition. So it's of 10 GB, right? So let's use it, and we need to create boot also. So keep it as ext4 and Boot only, I think. Let me check what is the name of that. Swap area is done. Swap area, it's already done. So let's say, okay, if we add it to swap area, so it is how much? 20 GB. Yeah, it is 20 GB. And what it is saying, go back to the menu and correct this problem. Okay, no need to go to that. It is also optional if you go give the part space to boot or not. It is necessary to give the or create the mount point for root only, as we were having so much of space available, so that's why we have created this many number of mount points, but it is not necessary to create all those mount points, but for root it is necessary. So let's say install now and select the root partition, and then only say which one you have selected. Let me see. Okay, swap area is this one. Let's change it. Okay, let's say ext4 file system. Let create for boot also. We have already created the partition for swap area. These are the partitions on which are going to be formatted. So let's install and just select the time zone and the location. So for India it is Kolkata, and then the keyboard layout selected. Just write down your name. So I will write down it as Yogesh. So it is showing you your name and your computer's name. Then choose one password. Basically you should choose a strong password. I'm choosing a simple password or weak password, but ideally you should choose the strongest one. So yeah, continue, and then it will start copying the required files to your system on the selected partitions or mount points. So let's wait for some time. So whatever we are doing, whatever the installation we are doing here, we are doing it as a super user. So in bracket you can see it is written as install in bracket as super user. So let's check how much time it is going to take it. It is saying almost finished copying files. So it's not difficult to install or develop your system. Okay, it is running the post installation trigger. So after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart my system, and then it will show you. Okay, yeah, so after restarting, it show me the grub, and it is showing me the different options, that is Ubuntu and Windows Boot Manager. So if I click on Ubuntu, I'm going to see the Ubuntu operating system, and if I click on Windows Boot Manager, I will be moved to Windows operating system. So this is how you can install or dual boot your system. So here what we have seen is Windows 10 was already installed, and we have installed Ubuntu 16.04 along with Windows 10. So ultimately what we got is this dual boot system by using Windows 10 and Ubuntu 16.04. So I have clicked on Ubuntu, so it is taking some time. So it should ask me the password, username which we have already given, that is Yogesh. It should show me the user as Yogesh, and I should be able to log into the Ubuntu operating system. Yes, it is showing the same. So for Yogesh I have given some password, so I am going to enter that particular password here. So let's enter the password. Okay, that was caps lock. So enter it again, the same password which we have given while installing Ubuntu operating system. Yeah, so let's see, it should show me the UI of Ubuntu 16.04 now. Yeah, so here we are. So that's it. This is how you can dual boot your system. So by using that grub or that grub menu, you can either log into Windows 10 operating system or Ubuntu operating system. So this is the user interface of Ubuntu 16.04. So you can go to the terminal, just type terminal and just open it. Now you can play here, you can do whatever you want. You can run the programs, you can run your applications on Ubuntu operating system now. So this is the username Yogesh, and let's type some commands like pwd. So it is showing you your home directory, that is /home/yogesh. So that's all friends, thank you very much. Thank you.